I'm Sharon Westgarth, and my link to Willow Burn is through my husband Andrew Westgarth. We came here about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago now. Andrew initially accessing the daycare services because he'd been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and it was to give me a break for a couple of hours a week. But I started coming as well initially to see Joanne for family support, little chats and stuff like that. And then I had counselling with Ross for a while. But then I started seeing Sue, who done aromatherapy, but I used to get her to do me hands, because then I could just sit and natter. She was doing me hands. And all this time, Andrew was coming on Thursdays for the daycare. And once a month he used to have chemo on a Thursday, but he made them change that because it meant he couldn't come to daycare if he was going to chemo. So everything revolved around Willow Burn once we started coming here.
So a palliative care diagnosis means that we know somebody has a life-limiting illness. We don't necessarily know a timescale with that. Sometimes it may be longer, sometimes it may be shorter, but we know at some point they have an illness which means they will come to the end of their life, they will die. A palliative care diagnosis means that people may want to think about their own situation in that. They may want to look at their priorities, their wishes. They may want to think about what's most important to them at this stage of their life, whether that's time with family, whether that's focusing on treatment options to try and slow down or stall the course of an illness, or it may be important to them not to spend time in a hospital, for example, with lots of medical treatments, but actually say enjoy that precious time with family and friends.
So Andrew was a very, first impressions, shy and reserved Andrew. But once he came out of his shell, you knew Andrew was around. He really liked socialising, really, for such a shy type of person. He really liked socialising. So he enjoyed being here. And when Andrew initially came, the other members of the group, a few of them had said to Andrew, "Oh, we only get out when we come here." And Andrew was like, "Oh, well, we're going to change that. I'll pick us all up," because he was still driving, "and we'll go out and we'll have a meal." So they started going out every Monday for a meal and that. And it brought the group together more. Yeah, he was an absolute lovely man. A real lovely man who just gave me a wonderful life. He did. We had such a happy marriage, and I'll be forever grateful that I had 27 years of being happily married, because some people never get that. And that was because of Andrew, really. Because of the good life that he gave us, because we were the best of friends, really. As Andrew's wife, when Andrew was diagnosed, that was hard enough. But I had already sort of thought to, reading between the lines with consultants and that this was going to be a terminal diagnosis. And eventually they did tell me it was terminal. And the roller coaster of emotions is just horrendous. You know, I actually done a huge chunk of my grieving them first few months. You know, I would get up and it would be uncontrollable sobbing for hours on end. And then I would look at Andrew and my heart would just be broken. because I would look at him and I would think, you're 49-year-old. Why is this happening to you? You know, how are you living? How are you coping with every single day knowing that you're going to die?
So families obviously will be aware that their time with loved one is going to be shorter than perhaps they thought, perhaps they'd hoped. It may be that they want to support their loved one with thinking about the future, also what is important to them, to where they want to be as they become more unwell, how they can support. Obviously there is an impact on the families themselves as well, because they know that at some point they're going to lose their loved one. So palliative care looks at support for families and carers in that situation as well, and that may be around practical things such as thinking about, well, as my loved one becomes more unwell, how am I going to care for them? Is home the best place to be? Would being in somewhere like a hospice be the right place to be? And also that emotional support, acknowledging that loss, and then after someone dies, bereavement care for families and carers as well.
It can be a really difficult time, because you go from being these normal people living a normal life to not being them people anymore, and finding a new normal can be hard. But when you come somewhere like this, they give you a new life, they help you on that path. A lot of people, even when they're told the terminal, don't accept it, and I suppose that's understandable. But it can be really difficult to be positive with people but not give false hope, and this is where frustration can come in for a partner or a loved one, because they need to be considerate of the other person's feelings but face reality at the same time. But coming here meant that I could deal with all that, and it stopped the uncontrollable sobbing on a morning as well, which I really needed for that to stop, because it was taking its toll on us, getting up every morning and just crying, you know, and not being able to stop. Since Andrew died, I've continued to come to Willow Burn. This is where I feel closest to Andrew, and Andrew's family have the same opinion. They come all the time. They come to the cafe, we'll go down the memory walk where we have the little paving stone with Andrew's name on it, and we feel if we come here, we're where we belong. For me, this is still very much accessible to me. It's coming up to a year now since Andrew passed, but I still come at least once a month, if not more. And I see the girls from the day centre and have a bit chat with them and that. I have coffee in the coffee shop and then have a little look down to the memory walk. Sometimes I take my coffee down there and just sit down there, because that's where we feel Andrew is, really. But I also know, because I'm told every time I come, we're always here if you need us, you know, just give us a ring, and you just know that you're part of something. When you start coming to Willow Burn, you're part of something. It's a community, and it's not just for people that are dying. It's for people that need support throughout the journey, really, that they're on, because it is a journey that they're on.
And that's what Willow Burn does. We continue to care after the patient has died. So whether it be with family members, friends, Anybody who needs support, we won't let them down. We're there forever and ever, and that's just the way it is. That's the Willow Burn way, yeah.